Good day, peace and love, peace and blessings. But this message is for our teachers, our parents, our older students, communities all across the world, and definitely in the state of Florida. I want you to listen to me close. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna let a medical professional speak.
Young people are clearly able to be infected, they're clearly contagious, and they are clearly spreading the disease to others. And to think otherwise never made sense, and now it's being shown over and over again that children are carriers of this disease, and they're children, so they may not seem as sick, they may not get as sick, they certainly don't die in the numbers of that we see in older people, but they get infected and they pass the virus to others, and it's the others that are more frail, more elderly, more at risk with underlying diseases that are then going to wind up in the hospital, that are then going to wind up in the ICUs, and some of them, unfortunately, will die, Mika. So we're learning a lot more as we go. And with school openings right around the corner, it is never more important than now to realize that kids can carry the virus, and they can pass it to people in the home, they can pass it to teachers, they can pass it to principals, and the next thing you know, we delay this eventual resolution of the pandemic, which we all know it will come someday, but we don't want it to be far off into the future, Mika.
I'm hoping school administrators are listening to you. This is pretty basic science, and they're struggling with their decision-making on this part, some of the schools. Dr. Dave Campbell, thank you very much.
Now, there are a few things that we could do to all work together, which, of course, these magical genius brains of people that are elected don't seem to have. The person that's supposed to be in charge of the state of Florida will drop in some money, a couple $1 $100 million or so on contact tracing. So I'm gonna come back to that as well. So remember contact tracing. For parents and students and teachers alike, or anybody that works in the school setting, you heard the doctor spoke. Said kids are very contagious, and they will bring it to everybody else. And who's there to say the kids are always in the best of health? So if you have a child that is suffering from any kind of ailment in their inside of their body with their organs or what have you, they're susceptible. Not just saying every kid is healthy. We have obese kids, we have anorexic kids, we have kids with, special needs, all kind of needs. So I don't think we've been looking, or I don't think certain people have been looking to protect all of the children, all of the parents, all of the teachers, all of the community, all of the state, each state by state, or the United States, or perhaps across the globe. Israel has shown they did a closure. First thing, they opened back up were schools, and next thing you know, they saw a massive spike. The science is there. Some people just don't want to listen to science at all, but the science is there. They're not the only one that shows spikes when you open up places where there's mass gatherings. Again, as I said before, there's no way to have children social distance. And the only way you can maintain that is by having people not around one another. Now, those that work in the school specifically, hear this and hear this well. The government has spent $150 billion on the hotel industry, $25 billion on the airline industry to bail them out, yet you get a few nickels to say you get a pay raise, and they want to force you to go back to work. Think about the value that you have on a totem pole. You teach our kids 5 days out of the week. You're with the majority of kids more than some of their parents are with them. But yet you get treated like, for whatever reason, you're reduced and you're expendable. Our kids are now expendable. I think what's happening right now, people want you as paid babysitters to sit there and suck it up, because you're not going to be teaching lessons if you're teaching somebody how to wash their hands, clean their hands, dry their hands, eat the food this way. Don't talk to little Jimmy or Johnny that close. Sit down in your seat. If you get up, where you gonna go? You're gonna expel them. You're gonna send them to the office. What's gonna happen when the clinic when the clinic overruns? Clinic is gonna be overrun. How can you socially distance in the clinic? How can you social distance in the office? You have to have a line of people outside of your school waiting to get on the inside of your school in a thunderstorm. We do live here in the state of Florida. Nothing is rational about any of this. But when I want to go back to the money issue, they threw out a lot of money for the airline industry. They threw out a lot of money for the hotel industry. Billions of dollars, not millions, billions of dollars. Yet, you don't have proper equipment in the school to even partially open it up. Partially. If that money, or if some money, can be given to parents, the parents that stay home with their child and make sure their child is doing their lesson for whatever amount of time throughout that day, should have a supplemental income from A, the state of Florida, or B, the federal government. This helps us all keep our kids educated. Our PE coaches, they still have PE lessons like they did towards the end of the year. Take your child out and it might give you something to do as a parent. You're doing something now actively with your child and it's part of your daily routine now. Or every other day when you have PE, that whatever kind of lessons. So we did that at the last half of the school year. It was no problem. I was a science teacher, I was a PE teacher, and I love math, so I was a math teacher. So these things can work if we decide to work together. So if you supplement the income of the parents, or if the parents somehow can get a supplemental income from the state, and it's not even supplemental income, is that they're there facilitating as an assistant, as you would do with a substitute. Because now we know substitutes only have to have a GED or high school diploma here in the state of Florida. It means now you've taken all the constraints off. So now that parent that has a GED or high school diploma can be that pseudo assistant or substitute. So they can actually receive pay long as that kid is logged on, doing their coursework. And now it's on the parents to also reach out to the actual teacher to get the information. Like sometimes parents need refreshers. And then that parent now has a dialogue with that teacher. So the teacher still gets paid. The parent is now the substitute or acting as the assistant, the hard assistant in the home or the apartment, wherever you're staying. And it all funnels together. The kid is learning. The parent is getting some income. Parent is getting some income. The teachers are still allowed to be paid, and we start moving that way. Now, I said contact tracers earlier, so you can also, if there's another parent in the home, there's multiple parents in the home, or you need another source of income, employ these families, or look towards people with families to be your contact tracers. So now they're also making, in addition to the substitute of contact tracing, it's up to $20 an hour. So if you sign on to do contact tracing after the lessons are done, now you've fulfilled a full day. So until this thing is over, we're still going to need contact tracing. Until this thing is over, a lot of kids will not be going back to school. Virtual will be the thing. It may be the thing of the future anyway, so we need to start preparing. So teachers, prepare your lessons now as if this thing will not open up until January. Then prepare yourself in January if it won't open up until the next fall. Start thinking in advance. And same thing, teachers. If you feel that you're not going to be able to teach, look to be a contact tracer. They pay $20 an hour. And it's really not going to be a real school until we get this thing, COVID-19, locked up. And once we get COVID-19 locked up, then we'll go back to a little bit of normalcy, but we're in our new phase of the world. We're in our new phase of life. So now we have to adapt as people. We have to adapt. We have to come together. We have to utilize our talents, and we have to eradicate the BS mentality. Because people will pass by not paying attention. by doing something real simple as wearing a mask, staying a little distance away. So it's our turn to teach. Everybody has to turn into teachers and teach what other people may not know. Okay, so we have to do this thing all as one. Again, we got money. If we can bail out the airline industry, the cruise industry, the hotel industry with billions of dollars, we should be able to make this thing work, where families stay at home, stay safe, as long as your kid is logged in and logged off and with a certain amount of time or hours or whatever the criteria may be, you get X, Y, and Z. You're actually working. No different than going to a certain, let's use Purdue University. If I flunked all my courses, I lose my scholarship. Therefore, I'm on a plane back home to Florida. So there's a criteria that must be made. You have to have a certain point of GPA. Same thing with high school athletics. You got to have a certain GPA. If not, you fall below, you're ineligible. These things have to work like that. That puts parents back in charge. That puts the power back in the people. Not the elected officials, but the people. Because again, we're not losing out on education. We're getting a chance to spend more time with our families. You know, some people say, well, I want to go back to work. Well, work won't be the same for a lot of people. A lot of people, work won't be the same. So if we can protect our janitors, we can protect our teachers, we can protect everybody that walks on a school campus or picks up someone from a school campus, the more we can do to help each other, the better. So we have options. There are options. Now again, teachers, if you want to stand up, if you shut it down, there's no option of school. Virtual is the best way. There's no answers for when one teacher gets sick, two teachers get sick, a whole school gets sick and shuts down. Then what? Where do these kids go? What do they do? Nobody has looked forward. It's like, okay, let's get them in school. No, you don't prepare for a hurricane by just saying, get one battery and a flashlight. You have to look down the road. What happens if it floods? What happens if my roof comes off? Where can I go in time of need? If I hunker down, what do I need to do? Do I bat down the windows? Do I keep your chainsaw handy? Make sure you got gas for a chainsaw. You have to think this thing through. And there's people to help think this thing through. It's just that we have certain people that don't believe that this is real, but they are now wearing face masks. There's the irony behind that. You're going to be safe by teaching. We're going to be safe by having our kids go back to school. Let's not have fear in schools. But yet you do a news conference and you stand up there with face masks on. Just think about the irony of that one. So this is to protect our entire, the world. This is to protect the United States. This is to protect Canada, South America, Central America. This is to protect Africa, Europe, Australia, everywhere in between. This is protect Florida. This is protect us, you and I, your family, my family. So try to keep this one shorter. Hope we could get this message out and start rolling, because again, we can make it happen. This simple thing, we can make it happen. Parents that are unemployed, now you got a way of seeking employment by being there for your child. And state, this is what you owe us. This is what you owe us. We don't always have to owe the state. When there's natural disasters and there are things that happen, there's emergency declarations that can happen, and there's funding for it. Let's not bail out the airline industry, the hotel industry, and because when you're doing that, you're promoting travel when we're supposed to stay actually in place. When you promote travel, you promote the spread. Just simple facts. Again, I'm about science. I'm not about any of your political affiliations, your religious stuff. None of that, okay? We all have a heartbeat. We should all think together. I'm gonna leave you with this. If you close your eyes for a second, your eyes were closed, and so it's completely dark. You heard somebody screaming for help. Would you A, go help them? Would you B, turn and go away from that voice? Now open your eyes. The planet is screaming for help. Don't turn away. Peace and love.